Viewing us?
Okay, we are now live,
I was expecting him, so,
right, Mark?
Yes, we're good.
All right, great.
but we are recording.
So we're gonna get rolling. First up, we're gonna do the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great, thank you. Opening public comment. Mr. Parsons, do we have any public comment?
I do not believe so.
Okay. Any other public comment here in the audience? Okay, thank you very much. Ripley will leave public comment open. Mr. Terrio, your time to shine.
So last week, the entire middle high school went to the Colonial Theater to see the Diary of Anne Frank play, which was put on by Powerhouse Theater Collaborative. The play was very well done, and our students represented Interlakes very well. The outing club this weekend is bringing 10 students to Greenleaf Hut for an overnight camping trip. We greatly appreciate AMC Outdoor Journey Fund for funding this amazing trip. The Lakerbots went to Governor's Cup on October 4th, competing with 30 teams from across New Hampshire. Lakerbots competed very well and ended up ranked as final, winning the Judges Award for their outstanding community outreach. This past weekend, the Interlakes Middle High School Marching Band performed in the Sandwich Fair. They played beautifully and once again represented Interlakes with pride. Thank you to Ms. Einen for her support and leadership. Interlakes had over 30 art pieces submitted for judging at the Sandwich Fair this weekend. There were several first place winners and other recognitions. Thank you to Mr. Quinn and Ms. Criscoen for helping students submit their pieces. And a full slideshow of the submissions will be out soon. And then the Greater Meredith program is hosting the Scarecrow Stroll in Meredith. The middle high school has a display out by the sign near the road. Thank you to NHS and Unified for creating the display We Rise Together. So it's a zombie themed display.
How appropriate.
I believe the seventh graders in Mr. Derek's class helped to build frames.
Oh, good. That's great.
Great.
So
Is that it, Caleb?
That's all I got.
Great, that's super. Now we have another additional video item. Mr. Parsons will queue up on the Sandwich Fair, I believe.
and it is not the band. So we just wanted you to have a chance to see those great photos, and thank you.
I'd like to start every meeting with that.
Miss Einen's family for taking those photos.
You know, it's passed along to them, but they look sharp.
Yes.
They were crisp. All righty, we have our board meeting minutes from September 9th.
I wonder if it might be. They start on page 15. Yes. On page 20 in section D, I felt that this, although it says that Chair Hansen, you are reporting what Mr. Tordell had said last year, towards the end, it almost reads as if Mr. Tordell was here saying that he informed you. I just wonder if it is good for clarity's sake, since he was not absent, to state that.
For the record, I will not be able to attend the NHSBA delegates meeting on 25
But it just
October.
kind of reads like that was being said in the meeting.
Well, you could just add, Ed told me that. It was right after the meeting, pretty much like last December, wasn't it?
Right, so like previous year in a meeting before or something like that.
And I told you I informed you and the superintendent by email,
Right.
what, a month ago, 6 weeks ago?
Again, yeah. So previously.
Yeah, previously Chair Hansen indicated. Yeah, okay, great, thank you for that adjustment.
All right. Anything else? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. There's a
One
motion
extension or two extensions?
for extensions. Well, we squeaked by with a quorum on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, general operating expenses.
So in your packet, sorry. On page 23, there's just a memo from me. Unfortunately, we do not have bills for you to approve tonight. And in the memo, it lets you know that we had a software update that we ended up having a technical malfunction with our software. So we're hoping to have something out to you by the end of the week to approve just electronically.
That will be via email.
Yes.
And just to commend the business office, this is, I think, we're one of two locations on a national level with our software company having issues. And what I will say is other people in our organization are not experiencing the disruption because the business office is creating workarounds, including payroll. And so they really are to be commended. And unfortunately, a lot of work that had been done for accounts payable has to be all re-entered, and that work has to be redone. So, really want to commend them for making their way through it.
Great. Anything else? So stay tuned for that in the coming week. Next up, we have Mr. Jones here tonight representing the grandparents organization. So I will turn it over to Mr. Jones.
Thank you very much, Charlie. I'm really excited to be here and share this update with everybody. We're going to try to pull this up full screen, but you might want to just follow on my paper slides. I promised I'd keep this whole section of the agenda to 10 minutes. And so I have 10 slides. So I'm going to try to do them all very quickly. So we can take care of questions in the discussion part. I'm going to leave time for it at the end. If we could have the control, let's see. I built this chart actually using ChatGPT, but what it shows, thank you. What it shows us is the blue line at the bottom is sunrise. The blue line at the top is sunset. And it just reminds us that during the school year, the days do get shorter. The green areas, the light green areas, are areas that I think that the school district would make use of lights that we would put permanently on the field. The dark green area at the top is the area 9 to 11, which might be more of like a community time if we chose to do that. The blue area is supposedly blue skies, fresh light, but it's not always blue skies. Sometimes it's dark and we might want to use lights during the day as well. Go to the next slide. What we learned from that is that putting permanent lights on our field maximizes this asset, the field, about 60%. It increases our use of the field about 60%. The field is a 4.5 acre asset. It would be like adding an upstairs or a second story. We would get that much extra space, extra time on it. It's going to support all of our students, not just our athletes, and really enhances equity and scheduling flexibility. It provides sort of consistent, predictable scheduling so that a coach or team doesn't have to realize that their time just got cut shorter or shorter the next day, especially as they're approaching the end of the season where they want to do well and stay longer on the field. It also helps with like middle school soccer not having to compete with boys varsity football. Those would both be fighting for the same narrow window of time. And with lights, we could actually have more time to schedule all of those things. And I think that it advances the district's goals for wellness and engagement. If we think about these lights as a 25-year facilities improvement, that's going to serve, I estimated these numbers also with ChatGPT. Thanks, Mary. They're probably not perfect. But we'll probably see about 2,000 graduates from K-12 through the program. We'll probably see about 25,000 student academic years served by these lights. We'll have about 30,000 additional hours available to us on the field. We might not use all of them, but we have them. Probably about 7,500 new events that we could have using the lights. We talked off and on about whether or not we would rent the field out with lights. We don't have to do that, but if we did over 25 years, the study shows we could do about $360,000 of revenue. And the cost per student without the revenue is about $8 a year. And the way I figured that out is that right now we're talking about $200,000 that we're short on this. And if we looked at spreading that out over 25 years, that's about $8 per student. But that just talks about our district students. It doesn't talk about all the friends and families and communities and students that are coming to play on our field or practice on our field with us. And think about a family having to come from like Berlin, having to make a game that's just waiting during sunshine only. They would have to leave their work maybe at noon to get there for that game. And if we had lights, they wouldn't have, families could stay in their jobs and attend those games and see their kids play. All in all, I think it improves community values having the lights on the field and increases our gravitas as a school and maybe our school rating on like the good schools or our home values as well, because it increases the value of our property altogether. We've been getting really good press. We've been in the press 4 times so far. They're very favorable about it. And they are all watching us, looking forward to the day that we have lights. You'll see Kevin Keenan is in the middle there of our group. And I want to talk just a little bit about Kevin. Kevin's was, one of the adamant supporters of this from the beginning and is now in ICU. And we unfortunately don't expect Kevin to come out. So, but we know that every waking moment he's had, he's been telling the staff at the hospital about the lights program. So our efforts to date have raised, and this is gross revenue to us as fundraisers, $159,000 or $149,000. And there's a memo at the bottom. We subtract out of that about $1,800 for the cost of banner printing. We've established the scoreboard sponsorship program that's brought in $50,000, but we have 4 available slots. So if you have any other companies that would like to be on our scoreboard for 25 years, there are still spots available for that. And then our banner program is a renewable thing every year, and last year brought in $31,000. The bottom one is the Quimby Trust pledge from Sandwich. The Quimby Trust has pledged $15,000 in support of the Sandwich athletes, and that is going to trigger as we get started. And it's something that as soon as we are able to, we'd like to collect that and count that as funds in the bank. We, as a charity, even though we're a 501c3, we don't hold any money. The school district is holding all the money right now. And I think right now you have about 131,000, 132,000. that's ready to use as soon as we want to start the program. We've had booths out there talking to people. We've done this 7 different days. It was really fun. The superintendent and I were able to share a booth for a full day of home day. And during those, we were able to talk to a lot of people, engage their interest in lights. And I would say that there's a 97% favorable rating for lights. People are really enthusiastic about the lights. This is my math right now. And I would say that at a broad brush, the lights are going to cost about $360,000. We've raised about $150,000. And right now we're short about $211,000. We think that we might be able to reduce that by working more closely with local contractors. Maybe one of them would like to be a sponsor on our scoreboard, or that as we get closer to this, more people will want to get in banners or sponsorships as they know it's really going to happen. There's a lot of people that are kind of on the fence, not believing it's going to happen, so they just don't want to support it. I think once we do have lights, that we should have a really nice community event. And there are some people that we need to thank, and we need to reveal our new scoreboard. But that's something that we can plan later when we have lights on the horizon. That's it. I want to thank you very much for your time.
Great. Thank you, Bruce. Any questions for Bruce? Before I get into the memo that was included in the packet. So we've met a couple times. Mary and I had met a couple times. Well, one time with the group over the summer, or no, this fall, early fall. And then in talking with them, because the board made it pretty clear in June that we did not want to use any of our existing reserve funds, be it fund balance or our expendable trust fund for facilities. And so in talking a little further and talking with Duncan and Nancy, we thought, well, let's do what we said we would do. We talked in June about let the voters decide. And so we thought, we know how to write warrant articles, that we could propose a warrant article and let the voters decide. And it would be new money, nothing coming out of our fund balance or any of that. And so be it. And it will be a robust discussion, I'm sure. And the second part of this memo has to do with one thing. If we could finalize Musco, which we already have an approved bid from them from when we started this, because this started back the last time during COVID when we had thought we could have some money to do the project, but we had other needs that became more pressing. So if we could finalize them as the vendor tonight, it would allow Brian, our facilities director, to speak directly and negotiate directly with them. And he is pretty good at that. And so we can start to really fine tune what is the proposed cost. The other thing we let the grandparents know is it would also, because they had suspended fundraising after June, to go start fundraising again. Because now, if we take this warrant article forward, the smaller the delta is that needs to be raised by taxes, the higher degree you have of being successful in getting the voters' approval. So that is the reasoning for this approach. I don't know, Nancy, if you want to add anything.
I can add in the discussion if I can make a motion.
Okay.
To put the warrant article on the table so that we can then
Okay.
discuss it, but I would like to say something.
Sure. Does somebody want to second it?
Second.
Jim? Go ahead, Nancy.
So believe it or not, Bruce, this is the third school that I've been through this conversation with about lights on the field, and I am really supportive of it. I think, though, that using our reserve funds, which are really there for, a catastrophic or, unplanned happening, like the boiler breaking or something like that, health insurance. And we live right now in such an uncertain time that those reserve funds are, from my perspective, really important to preserve. It sounds like if you've gotten a lot of people that you've polled who've signed these sign things, that this should not be a hard sell.
I think that everybody would like to have lights. I think that those people who thought that this should, should be taxes, should not be taxes. I really think that there will be enough people that are happy with the petitions as written today. I'm happy with them myself.
With the warrant article. that we're
With the warrant
proposing.
article that Charlie's proposing.
Yeah,
yes.
great. I think
I
you're right.
have no problem with this at all, because I think that it'll help move people towards donating. And I think that freeing up Brian to talk to Musco really helps as well. It helps keep us on track for making next fall if possible, without getting anybody's hopes up.
Any other comments or questions?
Hey, Sam, I thought, I can't remember who it was, but I believe somebody has stated in the past, go back to the minutes or whatever, that the stated purpose of the ETF was to replace the existing AstroTurf when it wore out.
That has been the practice in the past. And so I think that is probably what the board would intend as well.
So
I didn't
Well,
mean to say that it was only for, sudden things like that, because that is the way you also pay for some occasional big charge, like replacing the AstroTurf, which is a huge amount that would be much bigger to ask the taxpayers to do in March than the lights on the field. So I'm sorry if
well, I mean, that was my point.
Yeah.
Was if it's an emergency thing, then let's call it an emergency thing. If it's not an emergency thing, it's not.
well, yeah, that was one example, was emergency things, but
Okay, that's all. Thanks.
I'd be really excited to see lights in the field, and I'm sort of excited to hear you say, in talking to the public, you think there's enough energy, not just in theory, but enough energy that something like this warrant article.
I think that the support for it would be closer to 80%.
Yeah,
It's 97% when it's not taxes. I think it's gonna be closer to 80%
that's still
with taxes.
pretty
And I
resounding.
don't think, I think it's gonna be interesting if we raise enough money and all of a sudden we're talking about a delta of like $97,000. Is that really worth going for taxes? Or is there another way to absorb that? But that's not for me to think about or decide. That's something we could decide when we get there. So, but I like this. This moves us closer to doing it. I think it's I think this is a fabulous approach.
Yeah, and I like the additional motivating factor on the fundraising front of this sort of, the closing that delta. I like that you have that sort of wind in your sails.
Yeah. I think we learned in the process that we learned a little bit about these lights, and please cut me off if we go too long today. They are 80 feet tall, and they will shine the light directly down and bounce off the field and illuminate the bottom of the ball, so that athletes, as they're like going to catch the ball, will be able to see the ball. It will be a shadow. And so we don't really want to have to change the light bulbs in the next 25 years. It would be a hard thing to do to get to the top of the pole and change the light bulb. There's an option here to do color, red, green, it's in there. But there's an option to do color bulbs that they can then do like color cheers with the lights or sync them with the marching band. And you could have an art student or robotics time the lights to do something on the field. It's, I think, about $15,000 upgrade to do that. But I think it's a lot less expensive to do the color option now versus 5 years from now trying to raise the money and get somebody on a crane to the top of the.
Well, what I would say, Bruce, is let's keep our eye on the prize.
Sure.
And I think, we've got a good poll here to begin with. If we vote on this today as is, we may end up voting on it again, because I'm in hopes if we approve Musco with Brian's conversation, and you have until early February to raise funds to make a difference on this warrant article. So that's 4 months, about 4.5. It could look a little bit different. And
I think it's really, a great, I think this is really great and I love how we're moving forward. Thank you.
any other, Jim, did you want to say something?
I was just gonna say, yeah, I'm, you know, as a parent, I'm supportive of this, and as a school board member, I am supportive of this in both capacities. So I think it's excellent, and I appreciate Bruce's work. And I've talked to him about this. I went to homecoming, watched both soccer games, football games, walked around, you know, spoke with Mary, and I think parents are supportive of this in the community. I agree with this as being the right way to approach it, you know, rather than taking out of our fund. But I think with this momentum, it should help all of us.
Great. Any other questions or comments? I'm going to call for a vote then. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We've approved that. Now I'd entertain a motion to approve Moscow as the light vendor.
I'll put it forward.
Thank you, Siobhan.
Second.
Seconded by Jimbo. Any other discussion on the Musco piece? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Musco is the vendor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
And
Bruce.
thank you,
Thanks
the
very
grandparents,
I will,
working very
I will
hard.
pass this along to everybody. And I'm off to Konya for my son's soccer. And hockey.
Just as an aside, in one of our meetings, it was after homecoming, Coach Hackett brought up what I think is compelling. Try to get this over the goal line, and that is at homecoming, when you went around, and I wasn't there, he was there, and he was telling me about this, is you had kids talking to kids.
Mhm.
They weren't looking at their phones. They were engaging. And these days,
Yeah.
you can't have too much of that. No offense, Caitlin, you said it.
Also, the lights with the rentals we have that we spend money on, and they're not very good. Like the glare, I took some photos. It's very hard to see the football being thrown to you or the soccer ball being kicked at you. with
So for
the
7
lights.
years, Brian Swanker has championed that and
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
The
No,
amount of-
actually,
No,
like,
no, no,
but
I'm
it's
just saying,
the
it's
glare is,
amazing.
there's a lot of,
He has,
yeah.
he's worked really hard to do that.
Yeah.
So, they are imperfect.
Mary, enrollment report.
You know, basically we're status quo. We're down a student, but.
Any
we're
questions
covering
on
it
enrollment?
9 to 5.
I have a question on enrollment related to athletics. I've heard some stuff related to our athletics next year. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but us being petitioned to drop a different division.
So, that is something that, Sarah Dumais, the athletic director, Amanda Downing, and I spoke about.
Okay,
So, you know, they look at your class size.
yeah,
well, your
your enrollment
your
side, right?
total enrollment. So, and you do it by sport, but it looks like we would fall into Division 4. But you can petition up, which is our plan to do that,
Okay.
because it would suddenly put us into playing Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. Like, you're just starting Colebrook.
Yeah,
Like, it's
Too far.
starts to move us out of our range. We did also look at it, you know, we thought, well, competitively, it would more, you know, again, size is there for a reason. But the reality is those school districts have less sports, so they have greater concentration for the sports they do have. So their, you know, their teams are a little, possibly more focused and competitive in some of those areas. So she did quite an analysis and don't feel that it will have any competitive advantage for us to go with Division 4.
yeah,
And then with the amount of additional travel, you know, that would add for complexity. If we can petition up to Division 3, and she's hopeful that the NHIA will accept that, it really does let us stay within our region. So.
okay, yeah, that came up in a couple of discussions. I know it's a sidebar and I'm close to the sports, so I don't want to interfere with that, but I think that would be a detriment to our athletic
Yeah.
program as well as our transportation costs and everything. So I think that's something we should use as enrollment.
Yeah.
If that comes up again, I think it would be a discussion in front of all of us roughly.
Anything else? Hearing none, staffing update.
So, staffing hasn't, this evening, my hope is the board will approve a teacher nomination, which will allow us to be fully staffed from a teacher perspective. We are still, have a speech pathologist that we are contracting services. We are hopeful at some point we will be able to hire that position. And paraeducators, we're certainly closing the gap there. Middle of progress.
Any questions on that? Hearing none, strategic planning update.
So you have in your packet, the committee met on September 30th and has a final draft, I will call it. Certainly what came out of that committee was conversation of wanting to have another opportunity for the public to have some opportunity to engage with this and think about goals and so forth. So I am working on trying to figure out something possibly for November.
I'm so pleased with it.
So people should feel good.
That was
And,
a great process.
you certainly had great representation from the board.
And it was a, usually, writing by committee is not that fun. This was so interesting. I loved hearing from the parents. Every one of them had a different point of view. There were just, and the conversation was really rich and people really listened to each other and, changed their minds and came to a good conclusion. So it was a great process, I thought.
Well, to that end, thank you for setting the table, because I wanted to take this opportunity because this strategic planning is the sort of thing that gives me hives personally, but it's a big initiative and it's an important initiative. So I wanted to thank Ed, Siobhan, and Nancy for all your extra time over the summer to participate in this, to make sure we had a good process. And I thank Mary for her efforts to oversee this process.
We're still a work in progress.
We're
For
still
the
a work in
sandwiches.
progress. Thank you.
Can I mention Jim Michaeland?
Oh,
So
yes.
last year, Jim Michaeland was a write-in for the school board moderator. And, he said, I didn't even know I was running. But he's from Sandwich and he's the town moderator in Sandwich. And he's a wonderful moderator, but he said to me, when I do something, I do it 100%. And he came to one of these meetings a week after he had a knee replacement. And, he's been to all the meetings and he even went to the Edie's meetings at Sandwich Central School and got involved in all the community conversations. So he's just been a wonderful addition to the community representatives for these programs. So anyway.
We did, certainly out of the conversation last spring about community wanting, to have a greater sense of what's happening in the schools. We did start a group in Parent Square, which is a community connector. So we've been pushing out, schools have been pushing out their newsletters to that. And certainly the agenda for school board meetings, we've been pushing out to the whole school district and then to the community connector as well with the agenda attached. Athletic schedules, home schedules. We have about 50 people in that group at this stage. We are running ads in the Laconia Daily Sun and the Merrick News to try to get people to consider signing up, because you have to sign up for it. And we also, if it hasn't happened, the Sandwich Board. So we're trying
I
to.
don't think it has.
Okay, so we're trying to get the word out there, and if you know people in the community, you can refer them my way and we can help get them set up.
Thank you, Mary. Just FYI, we've set November 7th as the legislative outreach meeting. So Ed and Nancy, if you wouldn't mind contacting your reps again, like you did in the spring. We're going to see if we need a few more people to come because of the timing. We're also going to invite the 3 town select boards. And if any board members could come, that would be great. It's not required, certainly, but it's always nice to have a few board members.
And it's at 9 a.m.
It's at 9 a.m. And Sarah is sending the invitations out today or tomorrow?
I'm not sure she did it today, but
Because
it's,
she made
Yeah.
it sound like it
Yeah.
had been. but
It's
it-
Friday the 7th.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Will there be a remote option, a dial-in option for that meeting?
Hadn't really thought about it, but I guess we could.
Okay.
Probably.
That'd be great. I think I'm tracking that. data, but I
Because it'll
apologize.
be a straightforward, hopefully a nice presentation about what we're doing, challenges and solutions.
Yep.
That we're pursuing. And then it will, hopefully we'll be able to engage with what their thoughts are in general about some of these things. Okay. It's really, we just want to get it to know us.
I think it's an awesome idea. It's such a great idea. Yeah.
And did you make a note about the?
I did.
Oh, great. Thank you. Ms. Dolph, your favorite thing, facilities.
Yes. So in your packet on page 39 is a memo to the board regarding the boiler and HVAC project. Mr. Swanner sends his apologies. He was unable to be here tonight. So he is reporting back to us that he's 97% complete with the project. Kudos to him. He spent the majority of his summer working on this project, and it carried over into this beginning of the school year, which is a very busy time. So it looks great. He's done a very nice job. So we were officially turned on this past Friday. We are working through some kinks, but we are fully switched over to the new system. And financially, we are in a good position. The project came in about $6,000 more than what we were anticipating, and that's projected, obviously. But we are looking like we're in good shape. And I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Any questions for Ms. Dolph?
How does that credit rebate get applied?
It goes to offset the expenses.
To pay back the loan initially or whatever, like the
So-
initial $6,000, that $6,000 overage.
We actually, it will actually,
$1,000.
no. So the total project was actually $1,573,000. And so the 73,000 over had to come from the general fund. We had, when Brian presented his budget to us, we had a little bit of contingency that we set aside from the general fund, just in case it did go over. So that money will go to offset the general fund. It won't touch the loan. Yes.
Great. Well done, Ashley. Mrs. Moriarty, nomination.
Yes, you had an opportunity to.
How do you pronounce her name?
I'm not the best person to do that, I'm sure.
Okay, I'm not either.
And we usually don't use the name,
Oh,
just as presented.
as presented.
For the special ed teacher,
Yeah, are you making a motion?
yes, motion to accept the nomination.
Great. Seconded by Ed. Any other discussion on the nomination? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Nomination is confirmed.
Excellent, thank you.
All right, Mary, if you could let us know about the Elementary International
Yes.
Club co-curricular position.
So page 40, you have a memo from me. I was approached by ILES, some staff there who wanted to start a co-curricular for the international club at the elementary level. We do have a co-curricular salary schedule committee, and that committee really works with moving things up or down the salary schedule. But if something is a new addition, it would become before the board. We had in the past been doing 3 years, but 3 years is a long time for a club. People would basically volunteer and then see if we had enough interest. That makes sense for athletics. For clubs, it's a little harder to do. The athletics is, because typically there's more of an investment in equipment and so forth. So I would ask that the board consider this evening having it basically mirror what we have at the middle high school in terms of a stipend, which is $1,458. It also includes the associated benefits, meaning FICA and so forth. But we would like to have it ready to go for ILES. I'd like to leave the option open for Sandwich Central School if there's interest there. I love this.
I apologize. Go ahead, Nancy.
No, I was just gonna move this suggestion as
Okay.
Mary described it.
Move and second, then we'll open it up at the second.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Ed, go ahead.
How process question, I guess, more than, how does the committee, I think you said, say, this is a level 6 as opposed to a
So
level
we try to
5?
look
I
at,
understand the athletics, like the material investment. piece,
Yeah.
But other than that,
so we try to look at like like how much of a time commitment it is. So, you know, if you look on page 41, certainly like varsity football is a significant time commitment. So try to gauge it that way. You know, we started this probably a few years back, and there were some adjustments up and there were some adjustments down based on, you know, talking to the advisors, you know, trying to again ascertain how much time are you putting into this, and trying to then see if there's a better fit based on the salary schedule, trying to create some sense of equity.
I don't, is it feasible for the same advisor to be the advisor for the sandwich if they deconflicted, like meeting days
They-
or something like that? And thus
to
that it can
share
be
it,
double-
like-
double dip, if you will.
No, the person could decide to say, hey, I'm gonna do it in both places and get 2 stipends.
Okay.
So we see it as 2 separate things.
So this one is, for the elementary school at Interlakes Elementary School for now, with the caveat to be able to do it in sandwich.
Correct. I just would like to, again, you know, co-curriculars work best when there's a drive with somebody and passion for it.
So we have a motion. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next up, I would entertain a motion to approve a 1-year contract extension for the Interlakes School Board and the Interlakes Education Association Collective Bargaining Agreement as discussed in non-public. Thank you for the motion. Seconded by Jim. Any other last minute comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashley put together, I believe, the budget timeline worksheet that we have in our packet.
Correct. That is starting on page 43. The first calendar that you see on page 43 is for the SAU. We just put that in there just to give you a heads up on those dates.
Please note, Abe, SAU happens first and then we get into the school district. Because you're automatically a member of the SAU too, because you're a member of this board.
The purple's, SAU.
Purple is SAU, that's right.
Blue and maroon together, make purple.
Make purple. On page 44, we have the Interlakes calendar. The dates are highlighted.
I think if you could note that we are proposing January 13th starting at 4 and January 20th starting at 4. This budget tends to take a little longer. And Sarah will certainly remind people.
If we see conflicts in here already, should we just let you know, like, as long as I have one already for the SAU on the 9th, I think.
So that's
Maybe,
December 9th.
yeah, I can do
And that would be
the,
an Interlakes. board.
That's
Board.
an Interlakes board meeting as well.
okay, yeah, so I probably have,
Thank you.
I believe I'm traveling, I mean, I don't know, Spain for sure.
Great, thanks, Jim. Any other, you don't need to vote, do we?
Nope, this is.
Nope, it's just
informational.
informational. And then on page 45, that just outlines the meeting and filing dates that we have to follow in order to establish the calendar on page 44. And then it also, the individuals in bold are up and will need to, if they are considering to run again, those, you are up in 26.
So that would be Siobhan, Abe, and Nancy.
Correct. And Abe's term technically is up in 28, but because you are appointed, you would have to.
I'll sandwich. No, you're not sandwiching.
No, I have a whole nother year till I get fired.
All right. So next up, we have New Hampshire School Board Association proposals, which we have.
Start on page 46, and then you do have a chart for the proposed resolutions starting on page 71. Might be easier to rip that part off.
So Mary's going to give us a quick overview of the School Board Association process.
Sure.
Right from the horse's mouth, that would be Barry and Christina.
Yes, so the
And
delegate,
Abe will be our, I'm sorry, Randy, I need to talk over you. Abe will be our representative this year because I can't be there, due to a conflict. So thank you, Abe, for stepping up.
so it is a delegate assembly, and what Eric Christina, who's the executive director, shared is that the continuing resolutions are done as a block. So there would be a vote of, as a block, do people support the continuing resolutions? And then the proposed resolutions, they take one at a time. So they go through each one individually that are proposed.
And this came up last year with us. I think Lizette, did you ask about us kind of giving some guidance?
Yeah,
So they doesn't have to go in there.
Last
by
year-
himself.
last year it was. I found myself, saying, like, I don't know, if whoever the delegate is representing the board, and by extension the constituents, we should probably have a consensus from the board as to what the board's position is.
And this is something Ashland has done all along.
Okay.
And so what I'm going to propose, we're going to do this in two parts. We'll start with the continuing resolutions. And being that these are repetitive, we'll go ahead and do it like they actually do it. The association will take it as a consent format. We'll take all 12. Yeah,
Yes.
all 12. Unless anybody would like to pull a specific one out. If nobody wants to do that, I'd entertain a motion to support the continuing resolutions. Thank you, Ed.
No, I'm like to pull out number 7. Not making a motion.
Oh,
So for discussion, not for anything else. I'd like to point out that we had a significant discussion last spring, I believe, referenced the nurse in the middle high school. And a student, I'm making page 47.
I think it's
Like, yeah, thank you.
important to be cautious. It's a non-public matter.
It is not.
Okay.
It was but the discussion centered around what was, or maybe it was our suicide prevention policy. I can't remember. But it was the discussion of what is the due diligence of before the staff takes action on can't remember if it's a medical need or a suicide need. We had a flow chart discussion there, suicide prevention plan.
and just so I make sure I understand, we're on the continuing resolutions. You're talking about number 7, sports legislation and rulemaking helps make Medicaid the school swimming more accessible.
All the way down to applied parental consent after due diligence on the school district's part.
Okay.
So my question is, not question, but discussion is do we have a definition from NHSBA or whatever on what is due diligence? We have defined that for the board. We have defined that for the school and policy and the flow chart. But I don't think that is clear. So I may be,
They're looking at.
as I have a tendency, self-admittedly to do, I have a tendency to make a mountain out of a molehill, acknowledged. But that was a hot button topic last year
At the,
at the assembly, and what is due diligence. So again, and you and I were having this conversation earlier, as you start to add layers of who represents and lobbies on behalf of, like, that due diligence definition tends to get watered down and more fuzzy, or any definition as you add levels to it, kind of So I don't disagree with the wording. I don't have a problem with the continuing resolution, but I want to call out that and, I have two questions questions on 9 and 10, but I want to call the board's attention to that as a potentially problematic piece of wording.
Yeah, no, I think, I get what you're saying, but I think the way I read it personally was that this is kind of only to allow us to get more Medicaid funds after we've, like, say, sent someone to the nurse and we need reimbursement for money or something like that. I don't think it's anything about like a consent, like kind of says like, well, I have very flexibility after we've done our due diligence. So it's basically just like allowing us to like request money and funds is the way I was reading it from Medicare, not giving like personal data. So I agree with, I understand what you're saying about our previous discussion. I just think that that's not how I'm interpreting number 7.
And because they're Medicaid eligible students, there's like a known umbrella of what they can receive.
Yeah,
And
and if
so
their
that's
parent
the
says, no, I don't want you
implied
to do
parental
that. Yes.
consent that they are receiving state benefits and then thus would like to access what their benefit to. This is, that's how I read this.
Yeah, I'm
I
reading
think
it the
it's like
same
the
way.
parent has basically given verbal consent, but has not signed the form yet.
Yeah. and then
So
there's-
like, yes, my child can see the counselor every week.
Make note of
And
it, but
Medicare,
it doesn't
they
need
will
to
pay
be
for
a
that.
wet signature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, what we're asking is NHSBA supports legislation to do this, not the actual law
Mhm.
itself.
Exactly.
So acknowledge all.
And then our policy would say any type of like records retention or giving information would be like our district policy. But this is basically the thing that like the parent, they say it's okay, can get money from the state to help offset that cost for their children in school, right?
And it lists an opt-out
That the
process.
association will lobby. and
Yes,
will
to support that, yes, that's how I'm reading it.
Yep.
Okay.
And then for. And this, this is, I guess, the first time we've gone through this. For number 9, my only comment would be, yeah, I was unable to pull up, the statement of beliefs manual, which is referenced in number 9. So that would be something that I would like to be able to do in the future. I.e. next year, kind of thing. And number 10, my question is, what is an impact fee?
So impact fees are, like if you're, I think, and that I understand this, is like if there's building and stuff going on within a community, it can have like an impact on your library, it can have an impact on your DPW, it can have an impact on the fire department, the police department, and I think that that's something that maybe the developer has to pay.
Yeah, I think it's more for larger communities, I'd say.
Yeah, I think
Like
you're,
City of Dover, they have impact fees.
I
It could
think,
impact schools.
yeah, I would agree. I think it's like if you're gonna build a condominium community in Center Harbor or Meredith, goes to the planning board. They approve it, there's an impact fee assessment that like they might have to pay into like the school or somewhere for a lump sum one time. They're offsetting like, hey, we're gonna bring 50 new residents into this area. There's an impact fee associated with that we're gonna pay. So it's basically proposing, allowing the planning boards to go after money for large developments.
Okay. All right, again, like, I don't not support it, I don't understand it, so. Okay.
You can email Barrett, Christina, questions like that. He's really responsive.
Not responding to
All right, so again, going back to the block of them, does anybody want to make a motion to support?
I will.
Thank you, Siobhan. Is there a second? Thank you, Abe. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much, Abe. We'll send you a summary after we're through all
Okay,
this,
that's
so
great.
you can take it with you.
Was that unanimous or?
Yes,
that-
it was. Yeah. All right, so now we have another 12 or so resolutions to look at. And we can do it either one by one, or I went through all of them and I thought the the school board association's recommendations were pretty spot on. I could see doing it as a block to take their recommendations, but I leave it up to you all to decide how you want to go through these.
I've read through them all. I also feel comfortable with the school board recommendations, the New Hampshire School Board Association.
Yeah, I agree. I think that I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything, but it was like page like 50 through like 70 or something, right? 68. So I think, yeah, I think I captured all of them.
So I think again, you were talking about this. Whether it's, so the question is we're really at this point having two discussions. If we vote to do it as a block, it's to accept the resolution, some of these, or not accept the resolution, but accept the amended resolution.
Mhm. I think we're
So
going
which
as
is
a group.
like, my question is the phraseology for basically, is the motion really to accept NHSBA's recommendation for all of these resolutions?
That was my approach.
Yeah.
It would be to accept, to support New Hampshire School Board Association's recommendations, including where they propose alternatives that are outlined in the documents.
And then I think what we're trying to do is say to Abe, when he goes there, if we disagree with say 14, we all spoke, we decided it would be a consensus, like as a group, this is not really.
And I thought about it a bit about this since Ed and I he brought it to my attention last year or early this, whatever it was. And I would say also, if you ever got to a point where you felt there was a conflict with what you were going to do, I would just abstain from the vote.
Yeah.
On these singular ones, I think the continuing resolutions are pretty boilerplate, but these, if you're not comfortable, feel free to abstain. There's nothing wrong with that.
So I would like to do a couple of them. I think we can go through them separately if we are in agreement with the continuing resolution. We can move through it pretty quickly. I don't think we'll add much time to the meeting.
Yeah, I'm good with, there was none that jumped out at me, so yeah, I think if you.
So let's
jumped out,
start from the beginning. 13.
nothing jumps out at me. We go like around the horn, have Nancy start, we'll work our way down. Comments, no
Okay.
comments.
We can vote on these one at a
Oh,
time.
okay.
So does somebody want to make a motion to approve the recommendation on 13?
I put that motion forward.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. I'm up to 14,
And sorry, just to be clear again, we're accepting
the school board
the
association.
alternate resolution recommended by the New Hampshire School Board.
Yes.
Association.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe,
I'll do it.
I was just gonna say maybe Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah. Or their support. They might not necessarily have like an alternative.
Yes.
Number 14,
I concur with so the school board's recommended or association's recommendation is the same as the previous.
Yep.
Motion made.
thank you, Ed.
Second.
Second by Jim. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
15,
Same thing, right?
Motion to accept this as it is written.
Second.
thank you. Discussion, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are now on 16.
Motion to accept is written.
Thank you. Seconded by Abe. Discussion, comments?
The discussion, the only thing that I have is that this resolution and it's the alternative resolution reference the statement of beliefs without clearly articulating it. So again, moving forward, I would like to have a statement of beliefs included next year when we do this.
Okay, thanks, Ed. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. 17.
So I do ideologically appreciate Chesterfield School Board's position on this. I do completely understand the NHSBA's rationale and support.
I will say, just in general, I like the way the NHSB writes out their their reasoning.
Absolutely,
I
yeah,
think it's very clear.
yeah. I got to the end and I was like, oh, right.
I disagree because I think it gives, I'm all in favor of transparency. So I am in favor of Chesterfield's recommendation.
Okay,
NHSBA says, hey, you know, basically non-germane amendments are required to have a public hearing. That's a statement of fact. Okay. Not always helpful. It's not okay. There is still some level of transparency. Yes, just like having multiple committees and subcommittees and so on and so forth allows transparency on paper, but let's face it, like folks that have an interest in that may not be able to attend and may not be able to provide their input to multiple committee and subcommittee reports, testimony, et cetera, so on and so forth. And as a result, the bureaucratic process reduces the level of participation and transparency of those that have an interest in whatever law we're starting to talk about. Second, there may be times when NHSBA would want to support a non-germane amendment, depending on the nature of the amendment in the bill. While I understand that, and it is very clear, my question is, why would they want to do something in a non-transparent fashion? And that is not something that I'm in favor of.
It's necessary for negotiations, and it's a very common practice in our government, as much as I would prefer it not to be that way. But things like omnibus bills and things like that are a very common practice.
I don't disagree that it's a common practice. That doesn't mean that I agree with it. That doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it okay. And we got a lot of people that say, hey, you know, you need to be the change. Well, let's be the change. How you change it, you vote against it. That's how.
so I apologize. I've lost track. Do we even have a motion on the floor?
No.
We don't. So I guess somebody either wants to make a motion to not support or to support recommendation.
Make a motion to not support NHSBA's position,
Okay,
which is in fact to not support Chesterfield's.
right. I'm sorry, it gets a little
Yes.
confusing. All right, is there a second?
So wait, we are supporting the school board here, or the school board administration, not the initial.
No,
I think Abby's motion is to not support.
NHSBA's position.
Yeah.
Oh, to not support NHB. Okay, gotcha.
You know, actually, Jim, this process was, you bring it up right. Ed wants to support the proposal,
Yes,
I want to not support
the
Not support
recommendation.
the rationale,
Yes.
which is the original discussion on the floor.
Yeah.
At which point I would then make a motion to support Chesterfield.
I think you can just go ahead and make that motion to support Chesterfield,
gotcha. Yeah, okay.
if you would like. I can cut right to the chase.
I'm okay with that, but process, you know, we're a process-driven organization. So
We try to be, Ed, sometimes it gets ugly.
I had lost with the resolution.
So do you want to make that then?
I make a
You
motion to
support the
support
proposed,
Chesterfield's.
the proposed resolution.
Resolution, yes.
Okay. Is there a second to that?
I'll second it, just to get the vote. I'm confused, so I'm gonna probably abstain, but I'll second it.
So just to be clear, Nancy, all we're doing is, because really what they're voting on are the proposed resolutions. We've just been going by the school board recommendation. But what Abe and company are gonna hear is that that one single line, that's what the proposed resolution is. And that's what they're voting. So that's what Ed has made a motion to support the proposed resolution. Is that clear to
So-
everybody?
Gotcha,
Would
yeah.
not be supporting.
The recommendation, he would be supporting
Yeah.
the resolution.
But all he's really made is to support, yeah, gotcha. Yeah. okay.
That's what we're voting.
I'm clear, that's how.
Yeah, I'm there now.
Unless we vote this down.
All right. And Nancy seconded,
I second it.
All
So
right.
now we can.
Okay, shall we vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
I-
Nay. Okay, so that failed.
You just asked if this was opposed and you said
I
aye.
know, I on the nose,
Yeah.
I on the neck.
And I abstain.
So we don't have any guidance for A. Now we would need to make a motion. What do you want Abe to do?
I
He's
think
not supporting it, but he's not necessarily, well, no, it's not, that's all it
Yeah.
is. So I guess it is
if he's not supporting
the
the
recommendation,
recommendation, no, if
the
he's
proposed resolution.
proposed resolution, he is supporting the recommendation.
Right, there we go.
Thank you.
Like I said, it's not pretty. We'll get there. All right, 18, proposed resolution. All schools that receive state and or federal funding shall comply with all applicable state and federal laws regarding testing, hiring practices, and special education inclusion.
I would move to support this proposed resolution.
Second.
Okay.
I guess, well, I've never opened it up, like. We've opened it up to comment.
Please.
Yeah.
You'd like to say something?
The way I'm reading it is that all schools that receive state or federal funding should comply with laws regarding testing, hiring practices, and special education. That makes sense to me.
I think it's about vouchers, not funding.
Yeah, then when you,
It's, I think,
but that is not clear in the proposed resolution.
is this the education freedom accounts?
I think
vouchers?
it may be related to charter schools.
Okay,
It
got
is-
it.
it is
Isn't it
safe.
also, the way I read this, it's related to the education freedom accounts because
how I
the
read it.
state
Well,
is,
yes, because
the state is saying you
Because
can
private
take
schools could be
this
using those funds,
$7,000 or whatever
And
with
homeschoolers.
you
Yep.
to, and that means that those schools that receive those education freedom account students need to comply with all of these. I read the rationale by the School Boards Association, but it, you know, does not want our firm stance opposing vouchers to be misconstrued. You know, there's been no accountability
Right.
for that funding, and so I wasn't convinced or sure why. I think, you know,
It seems like they want to be more conservative and they don't want support of this to seem like
Mhm.
they're openly supporting the vouchers. There's some reservation about the vouchers because
Oh,
there is a
the
lack
way I
of
read it
clarity.
is
because
so
there's-
by
just wanted
saying
to
you
back
have to have
that
more
one.
accountability for the vouchers, that means you're supporting the
Yeah.
vouchers? Oh, they're here.
Yeah, but that's, I mean.
Yes and
the
no. I mean, they've
whole-
been limited this year for the first time. You know, a lot of kids are on wait lists now.
That's because they expanded them so much.
But the,
Anyway,
we don't know what to do
the
with that.
resolution isn't specifically about EFAs.
No,
They
it's
just
about
write laws in general.
any state or federal aid in those areas. There should be some accountability. That's the way I was reading it.
Received through state vouchers. So it's not any aid. It's through those vouchers that they're
okay.
passing state funds through, like to a private school or a charter school
Right.
that would not be under the state
Gotcha.
guidelines.
All schools
So-
that receive state
Yeah,
and
that's
or
what it
federal
says, right? That's what I was
funding.
confused. That's-
Understand.
Well, charter schools do, and those don't necessarily, well, they would receive
Okay, but
vouchers.
these-
But that's the rationale, that's not the actual
Resolution
resolution.
is all schools that receive state funding shall comply with applicable
But
state.
that's why we have the rationale for them to flesh things out. So, I mean, I guess that's even more reason not to support if like if they're having inconsistency, you know, between their proposed resolution and rationale behind it.
You can also
There needs
There's
to
not,
be-
I didn't see the inconsistency, Siobhan. They say all funds, all schools.
But in the rationale, it
It
is
says
specifically for
including.
passing, knowing, well, yes, including, that's true,
Yeah.
right?
Not just
Right,
vouchers.
it's,
It says
it's
including.
basically
But it's-
charter
it's
schools
trying-
and vouchers.
To bring them all together, I guess. I
Or
think it's even more
provide
reason
some
not to support it.
accountability is the way I read it.
Yeah, the rationale basically says that they're trying to support public schools, but the proposed resolution says all schools. You know, so like the rationale doesn't quite match up with what their proposed resolution. is,
Right.
that's all.
Right,
But we're not voting on the rationale, we're voting on the proposed
exactly,
resolution.
Yeah.
so-
exactly.
That's and the resolution doesn't make
Yes,
sense.
and
to
I
me.
guess that's what they're saying, like down here,
That's
right?
just
That,
too confusing.
So they're saying not to support the resolution.
exactly.
The resolution doesn't make sense.
But they
It
don't
both
make,
sides-
they don't make a
But I think that's why they're,
amended resolution. They just say, we want to maintain freedom of maneuver, freedom of, we don't want to get pinned down as an association.
Because
Because somebody might think that, like,
it's still a very fluid system, you know, in our education system. I think that this is actually, they're like, kind of want to see things play out a little bit more. This is way too broad. And
I'm just saying,
yeah,
if someone read like all schools that receive state and or federal funding shall comply with all applicable state and federal funding laws regarding testing, hiring practices, and special education inclusion, that alone seems to make sense to me.
And, you know, having had a career.
level
in
And so what's the
independence,
risk
level
of,
playing
makes sense.
field,
yeah,
right? If
and
you're
the
taking
risk
the
of,
money, then
the
you're.
risk of saying, oh, I don't support that means like, what is the alternative? The alternative is they talk about vouchers and all those things, but if you say, okay, cool, I don't support that, I don't think that all schools that receive state and federal funding need to comply with anything. That's what we're saying. If we vote,
well, the other thing is,
if we vote
Do you think?
against the proposed regulation.
Do you think it also kind of? It's interesting too, because people want to access things like charter schools or private schools
Mhm.
because they are separate in some ways from the public school system. There's something different about like how they're run or, you know, whatever it is, whatever is attracting them to this. And so does kind of supporting this very broad proposal take away those individual schools' own autonomy that might be attractive to certain?
well, the other part of it is, like, you're right, but that's the decision of these independent schools. If you don't want to be subject to that kind of oversight, then don't accept the funds.
And then we're kind of, yeah, it's just.
So in those areas, independent schools have to anyway,
Mhm.
you know, having had a career in independent schools mostly. Yeah, special ed, you know, if you get funding for special ed, you've got to comply with whatever the regulations are. You know, it may be broader than that. Because it just says including funds received through state vouchers, you know, but in the areas that they list here, there are some testing things, you know, like juniors have to take that, well, you know, in the states that I was in, the test that they had to take was the college, what's the college?
Here,
one?
it's SAT.
SATs, right? In junior year, there's certain things that they had to do because they received funds. So that's not a new thing. I think the vouchers, I don't know about, other kinds of schools. You know, if they're religious schools, I don't know if that's the case. I don't know, you know, non-independent schools, I don't know.
I'd like to point out that the first line of the NHSB's rationale is that they agree with the sentiment and intent. They are worried about a specific case,
Mm.
not the general
Yeah.
resolution as a whole. And yet they don't come back with a proposed counter amended resolution.
I'm just saying that their stance has been to oppose the vouchers.
Mhm.
They want to keep consistent with what their stance has been. Do we want to vote to abstain?
You know, no, and you know, I think so, but you know, here's the thing. Whatever the NASB does is not gonna make a huge difference in the conversation about vouchers in the legislature.
Right.
So I think we could vote to abstain. This won't make a very
I'm
big
fine with that.
difference.
I think we're all, you know, we all have different.
Stretching our brain.
Ed, do
Yeah,
you
we have
still want to
different
move
intent.
forward with your motion?
I think it was
Or Jim, do you want to move forward with your motion?
Sure, why not? I mean, I voted to, I guess, I voted to
Support.
support it,
Support the
Or
resolution.
move to support.
Okay, so that's what we got to vote on.
but I guess
Ed seconded, unless you want to change your motion.
to vote to abstain on it.
Correct. I'm throwing out the option to you. It's your choice.
Yeah, I would vote to abstain on it based on our discussion.
Ed, would you second that?
I would not second.
You will not second it. Anybody else second that? Nancy will second it. Okay, so we have that motion in front of us.
Yeah.
So all those in favor of abstaining from the vote, please say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Nay. So we are voting to abstain. All right, I got an idea for improvement to this process. Next one, let's have our discussion before we take any motions.
All right.
Number 19.
That's what they're just saying. We already have
Mm.
things that meet their needs.
Move to support NHSBA position.
Second.
Great. Any discussion? And this is to support the NHSB's position, which is to not support the resolution.
Correct.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next up, 20.
Same thing.
Yeah, similar rationale.
You need to accept.
The NHSB's recommendation?
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second? Seconded by Nancy. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. 21.
Move to support NHSBA's position.
For a second.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Twenty-two.
I appreciate their edit. And it's just being,
So is that a motion to approve the
Yes.
NHSB's recommendation?
Yep.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Opposed? Good. Number 23.
Move to accept NHSBA recommendation.
Thank you, Ed. Is there a second?
a second.
Thank you, Siobhan. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. And then 24.
Yeah, I'm fine with their edits. Motion to approve as written by NHSBA.
The alternative resolution and NHSBA's position.
Right.
Second.
Seconded by Ed. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And that does it.
That was a good exercise.
You have a menu. Thank you, Ed, for bringing this to our attention. And you will go on and vote it prepare.
Yes, thank you all, and thank you, Ed, for pushing us to do this.
Yeah, thank you, Ed, for pushing to do this. This is good. I remember I was completely lost the first
And so now
time I did.
we have a little process in place for this. Next year, we'll do the consent thing for the continuing, but for these proposed resolutions, we will discuss them first and each one, and then, like we did at the end, then we will entertain motions. If I forget, please somebody remind me.
Right.
Donation.
We have a lovely donation from the PTO, just over $2,000 to benefit the naturalist learning program from Prescott Farm at IOES.
Is there a motion to accept this with gratitude?
Motion
Yes.
made.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Right, what is my name on the other?
You just
had said last time, we wanted to just leave another in case there were other.
Right. That's exactly right. Does anybody have any other business to come before the board this evening? Hearing none, I'm going to close public comment.
I think we have some public comment.
We have a public comment.
Yes, one came in at 6:24.
Okay.
Says, comment for public board meeting. A current fifth grade at ILES has been consolidated to 2 homerooms. This happened abruptly before they started fourth grade. First, several grades have less kids, but more sections of homerooms. Second, and of more concern, is that they scored the lowest on SAS. What is being done to address this both now and for next year? Is there consideration of reverting back to smaller class sizes with more intensive instruction provided? Thank you, Sarah Thompson.
So what I will do is have Mr. Boucher reach out to her.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Any other, Mark?
Let me refresh, Mary. I'm just gonna forward this to your email so you
Perfect.
have a copy of
Thank
it. Let me just do a quick refresh, to make sure nothing else came in. Seeing none.
Thank you.
Do we respond back to Sarah in the comment with that?
I'll make sure we connect with her
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't because it's,
So I'll make sure tomorrow that we follow up with her.
Okay,
And that's on the public record.
gotcha.
there is coincidentally, we do have a viewer with the last name as the comment. But I'm not sure that there's a connection.
Okay.
Thank you. Any public comment? Okay, thank you. I am now going to close public comment at 7:21. Couple announcements. We already discussed, but the legislative outreach meeting is November 7th at 9 a.m. right here in the Humiston Room. And I'll ask, or I will ask Sarah to keep the board abreast of who's RSVP, just so we can know. And then Monday.
Yes, because it is, the 11th is a holiday.
Oh, is that Veterans Day?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, great. Monday, no, not Tuesday, but Monday, November 10th. So, and with that, I would entertain a move to adjourn.
So
Thank you, Ed. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jim. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much.